Hello and welcome. I'm Christopher Blake, and this is the Investigates podcast. This week we are looking at the rapid rise of poverty within the UK, in particular in work poverty. One thing society promises us is that if we work hard and apply ourselves, we will be rewarded for our endeavours. However, this is not the case. The growing popularity of zero-hour contracts with employers has left perilously placed employees finding themselves struggling financially. However, they are not the only people in work struggling, as rising costs outstrip the rate of wage increases and has left even full-time skilled workers at risk. It's hard to imagine a professional such as a nurse making choices between rent, food or fuel, but it is becoming ever more frequent. We met up with Chloe Adams, a 25-year-old nurse who lives alone. She has no children, and despite working as a nurse for the past 2 years, is still struggling to meet all her financial needs.
Yeah, I do, more than I thought I would do, and more than I would like as well. I thought I would be able to pay for everything, like bills, rent, everything, and then I've plenty of money left over to buy what I finally just wanted to, and it's not the case. Bills get paid and then scrape everything up for everything else, including food.
Poverty is a subjective term, and whilst it generally conjures an idea of someone's social standing, there is actually no clear definition for poverty. There are two methods for measuring poverty. Firstly, there is the relative measures approach, which places people from a population on a scale of available resource. In this case, a lower section of the scale will be considered in poverty. For example, the bottom 20%. If you fall into that category, you will be considered in poverty. The other definition determines a set of resources needed to survive. Typically, these involve food, clothes, rent, energy bills, and so on. Anyone who struggles to meet one of these necessities is considered to be in poverty. The Social Metrics Commission was set up in 2018 by a group of independent experts who developed a much more extensive set of test perimeters to calculate the number of people living in poverty in the UK. They use a relative measures approach, but they also include the size of the family, childcare costs, and accessible savings, amongst others. Their most recent study found that 14.3 million people in the UK are living in poverty, of which 4.6 million are children. That's 22% of the population living in poverty, and 34% of all children living in the UK. 49% have been living in persistent or long-term poverty, meaning they have lived in poverty for two of the previous 3 years. We speak to MP Barry Shearman to find out why he believes the problem is worsening and what his party intends to do to combat the issue.
We've just been through a horrible period of austerity, and we have had a Conservative government for 9 years. People forget that. We also had a Conservative administration that people made certain fatal decisions and ran away. Where are the former two prime ministers now? They've gone. And the fact of the matter is, we've just had 163 economists saying that our manifesto is affordable, and it will get that moved back, get the balance between public sector and private sector right, similar to Scandinavia, similar to Germany. This isn't Marxism, as somebody said today. This is democratic socialism saying this has gone too far in the private sector direction. Now what we need is a better public-private partnership with good regulation, and we can be as good as anyone in the world.
With only 11 days to go to election day, it is important not to become sidetracked with the issue of Brexit and to pay attention to everything each party's manifesto is offering. 5 more years of austerity could be lethal for so many Britons already struggling. Comment below if you've been affected by this or have an opinion, and join us again next week. I've been Christopher Blake. With thanks to MP Barry Shearman and Chloe Adams. The theme music is Homeless California by Montplaisir.